This week's episode is brought to you by Tabletop Backer Party on Facebook, which is the largest board game crowdfunding group on this side of the internet.
Featured this week, we have Merchants of the Dark Road by Elf Creek Games that calls upon 1 to 4 traveling shopkeepers to deliver their goods and make them sweet coins. As players will be using dice placement to control their wagons full of wares, crossing the city to complete tasks, taking actions, and manipulating that market for 60 to 120 minutes in this dice placement game that reminds you that the road may be dark and treacherous, but fame and those Lumi coins are where it's at.
Hello everyone, welcome to I'd Back That Kickstarter with Gloryhound and
DrGloryhogg.
How is everyone doing today? We're so excited to see all of you here to talk about Kickstarters.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy Kickstarters. It's been like every week. It's just been like...
It's building. It's how it's doing its little
I
tiny
don't even have
build.
enough time for a paycheck to come in before there's like another Kickstarter that I want to back.
Out the door so fast. It looks like we have a bunch of people in chat already. Thank you for joining us. We have Ellen and Ronnie. I saw Fatal Paper Cut. We have Mike. We had...
Battle
Cry, that's right.
All kinds of people.
That's right.
Ronnie's on there.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us in chat. As you guys know, this is a ultra, I want to say ultra live chat, but it's an ultra, there's a word I'm thinking of.
Ultra live mega super party chat.
There you go. Ultra super live mega party chat.
Super
where
Team
we
Strike Force Go.
talk directly to you guys. So make sure
Directly.
to leave lots of comments in chat so we can hang out and everything. So this week, I feel like we're really starting to get an uptick in, and at least with what we've seen with what's upcoming over the next few weeks.
That's true. Okay.
I feel like June's gonna be a
that's
big
true.
month.
Is it like what they used to do at the movies, right? Like your summer blockbusters, like all the summer games are coming out.
I feel like there's
there's
a big
cycles,
summer game.
But I feel like we're past the point where like everybody was kind of holding, because like over the holidays, like over like
Right.
that kind of Christmas winter holiday period, it slows down a little bit, and then everything kind of happened with COVID, and it seems like things slowed down during that. But I think the game companies are like, listen, we've got this in the pipeline, like we have to launch this.
Luckily for a lot of game companies,
They got to survive.
they have an up ramp like before Origins a little bit and like just after Origins, and same for Gen Con and everything, because they want to be able to be at Origins or Gen Con to show off the game and then have people back it then.
And that's true. I keep forgetting about that. With the lack of conventions that have happened, I'm kind of losing track of where we are in that normal cycle.
Yeah.
Because like if I know
It's
Gen
been-
Con's coming up, I know like, okay, well there's going to be an increase in good Kickstarters. And if I know like, you know what I'm saying? We talk about that a lot. But
It's been
without
irregular.
those being there, I don't even know. Like I know my birthday's coming up at the end of the month.
Wow.
But yeah, it's like Father's Day, my kid's birthday, then my birthday. Like wham, bam.
And
Lamb.
let's
Wham,
see here.
bam,
So
lamb, lamb, lamb.
Ellen says Nemesis doesn't look like my jam. Really? Okay.
Oh,
well,
then
that's
you get
interesting.
your jelly out of here.
I think, was it Ronnie that was excited about Bristol, or was it Mike or something? Somebody
was
was
Mike.
excited about Bristol,
Mhm.
and I'm excited to talk about that one too. It reminds me of a very particular game
This is
that's
gonna be tough.
computer-based.
This is tough. Like I could easily just like rubber stamp, just like back all four, just be like boom.
Back.
But you know, they actually do cost money, so I have to think about it a little bit harder than that.
Well,
Hi,
hello.
Lindsay.
Hello, Nathan and Dexter, and hello, Lindsay. How are you guys doing today?
I like that Nathan comes on like with his nephew all the time now.
It's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that too. So I guess, do you want to get started? We can
Let's-
sit here and talk about
Let's start off with the small campaign first.
the tiniest one.
Yeah, the tiniest one.
Okay. I guess we can start out with the tiniest one, just for you, Dr. Gloryhogg, okay? So first up, we have Nemesis. This is by Awaken Realms. It's for 1 to 5 players. It's going to last about 90 to 180 minutes. In this game, players are going to be traveling in their spaceship, which gets attacked by aliens. And at that point, you're basically playing Aliens, the board game at this
You
point.
can't say that.
Not trademarked, okay?
You're playing against a generic alien nemesis.
That's right. You're playing against a generic alien nemesis in this game. And you also have special things that you're supposed to be doing throughout the game as well, which I think is one of the more interesting things with this, because you don't necessarily have a hidden traitor per se,
Yeah.
which first off, I love in games, but you do
And
have...
I hate, by the way. Like I dislike hidden trader games for the most. I mean, I like Dead of Winter and I like Battlestar Galactica. Like I enjoy those, but I have to know ahead of time. I would prefer Dead of Winter without a trader in it.
Well, this has the aspect of shadiness with still some cooperative play.
Right. Well, like I can get behind Battlestar Galactica because I mean the show had hidden traders, right? So it seems thematically right. With Dead of Winter, I'm like, if you're a trader in Dead of Winter, like I feel like they should just throw you outside the warehouse and let the zombies get you. Like you deserve it, and I know you love it, but I do not love it.
Alan said, "Isn't Xenomorph trademarked?" That's probably true. It's probably true.
I'm sure that they're okay. I mean, Awaken Realms, this is their second time doing it, so I'm sure they probably looked into that.
Non-copywritten infringing xenomorphs are scary, says Erica.
So these minis are really, really nice.
They're super, super scary just because they're non-copywritten, so you don't know what they're going to do.
This is like the darkest board game I've ever seen that doesn't look just straight up dark. Right? Because it's all black. The board is mostly black, but it doesn't look like it's completely dark. You can't see lines or anything like that. It's very much like very readable.
So this game here is a separate game, but also somewhat of an expansion because you can play with some of the base game pieces. Not all of them, but some of the base game pieces you can bring into Nemesis Lockdown. But I do think they streamlined it a little bit. And you know what? GloryHogg, why don't you go ahead and tell me what you think of this game?
All right. So I want to first talk about hidden traders.
Okay.
That's a mechanic, like I said, that I don't enjoy as much. She really enjoys it. I am still burned from like 7 years ago when she betrayed us during Dead of Winter on her birthday. And all of the other 7 players or 5 players, everyone who had taken all that time to come celebrate your birthday. You're going to bring up that story
again. You're going to bring up that.
The second to last turn, all she had to do was pass the turn to me, and I could have fulfilled the goal, and we would have won Dead of Winter. 2.5 hours into it, she betrayed us all.
Those make the best games. When you can betray somebody at the last second of the game. And then the entire table's just like,
so here's the thing. So the reason why I bring that up is with most hidden trader games, as soon as somebody starts acting fishy, you immediately know. You're like, okay, what is this person doing? Why are they acting weird? They're the traitor. It's kind of easy to spot, especially if people are not subtle.
Right.
You know, are you playing like Resistance or, you know, one of those Avalon social deduction games and somebody messes up, like immediately kind of like tanking one of the very first missions? You're like, why did you do that? Like,
somebody
it's
has
too easy.
Eyes.
Right. You're like, it's too easy to know that you're like already working against, or we know that somebody's bad in this group here, right? It is, the long con is how you win it, right? Like that long con I did at Mayday. That was a good long con. Just, anyways, hidden trader games are only fun when you're the hidden trader. That's what I just discovered. Or you lock them both up in jail, like when I locked you up and the other Cylon up in Battlestar Galactica. But sorry, I'm rambling.
I know, you are rambling.
My point is, with this game, is that every character kind of has, they can decide their kind of goal, and everyone's in it for themselves. And not like in a bad way, but it's realistic. Like, you're on this ship in the middle of nowhere. There's aliens. You don't know if you can get to an escape pod. You don't know if you can like get rid of the aliens or redirect the ship back to the right planet. I mean, you don't even know if you're going to the right planet. There's all these things going on. And you know if you were on a ship with like 9 other people or whatever, there'd be some dude that you'd be like, I kind of hope he doesn't make it. I was
thinking of that. You're like, that guy is a jerk.
And that's what's brilliant about this game is that your goal might not be like, oh, betray everybody. It might be like, betray that person.
Because they're
And that's realistic. Because you're like, yeah, if Rick doesn't make it, Rick doesn't make it. We're not going to shed any tears here, right? So like, oh no, Rick fell down. We're coming for you, Rick. And then you make a left instead of a right. So I love that the way they did the hidden trader in this, where it's very subtle and it's not just 100% like, I want everyone to fail. It's like, I might want this person to fail. Or even better yet, maybe only I can get to the escape pods and get out of there because you're so self-worried about everything. And then if you think about it, if you're the one who gets to the escape pods and leaves and everybody else dies, you get to create the whole story of what happened. You can become the hero.
God.
You can become the hero to the people, even though you were not really a hero.
Battle Cry
the lone
says,
survivor.
Eyes on Dr. GloryHogg.
Yeah.
You know what, everyone? Now you know. Now you know the shadiness involved with that, okay?
See, and that's the whole thing, Alan. With this game, nobody can immediately identify who the hidden trader is because everyone has their own objectives. So everything you do seems shady, especially the more you play it. Like every time you play it, you're like, gosh, why is he doing that?
Well, hold on. I wouldn't consider this a hidden trader game per se.
No, it's still mostly a co-op.
More of a cooperative game. However, you have you have a particular goal that you need to complete throughout the game in order to get like more winning to #winning as opposed to winning.
Like Charlie Sheen says, #winning.
That's right.
Tiger Blood, not Tiger King. That's old.
So I like that because you can still teach people this game and people aren't going to be like terribly like, oh, you can't see everything that I'm doing, you know? sometimes when you get involved in those sort of games where there is a hidden traitor, like you can't actually teach the game without people feeling maybe like upset or defensive that you're gonna like look at their stuff and discover like their stuff if they are not a traitor.
Or there's some hidden traitor games that go like 2 hours or cooperative or so, and then like towards the end when you betray, you're like, you're the one who taught us to us. Like, how could you betray us? Like, you're the one who's teaching it to us. Not that that's ever happened to you.
Well, that's true. So in this particular one with their crew, I've always really enjoyed the fact that Awaken Realms in their Nemesis game always have like really interesting crew members. I know that I remember from the original Nemesis game, they had the guy in the wheelchair, which I was like, oh, that's so fantastic. Yeah. Like, that would be great. I love that so much.
Survivor guard. I like the lab rat. I keep thinking the lab rat's like, it's a pillar that they're standing next to. I keep thinking it's like, it's that Nintendo gun for Duck Hunt.
I feel like these are like the B-movie people, though. Like, this is a total B-movie, everyone.
These are the ones that normally don't make it, right? Like, the ones you don't expect to make it.
Well,
because like in the first one, you felt like you had like, oh, that's Ripley or that's this person. This one, you're kind of like, yeah, these are the ones that normally don't make it. So it's going to be even more dramatic. That was some of the things that we liked about some of the kind of grim, dark stories that we've looked at, narrative games, where it was like, it's not the heroes that are going out in the world. It's like the leftover villagers that are like still trying to make it out, because they're going to try to make it out too, right? So
with the original game, they did change some stuff, which it seems like they made it a little bit more streamlined in this particular version of it, which I'm actually really excited about, because I wanted to get Nemesis, but we ended up missing out on it because there was something else that we wanted to back instead.
Game over, man.
And
Game over.
Dr. Gloryhogg is actually not a huge fan of space games, so I'm excited to see this back. I'm excited to see it more streamlined. I'm excited to have the same quality that Awaken Realms brings to the table.
They are getting to the point where they're like my new Come On, right? For a while there, Come On was like anything that Come On put up, we would back. And now Awaken Realms is like, take your money. It's like, why do they even bother paying me? Like, can I just have like 20% of my paycheck go to Awaken Realms and they just give me new games?
It looks like Mike also thought it was the Duck Hunt gun as well. Maybe it's a callback. Maybe it's a callback. And game over, man. Game over. Ronnie says they just announced 2 stretch goals. Let's see here.
Wow. So you're saying that it's an aliens based on a fungus. That's like, it reminds me of that one video game, Last of Us, where like the zombies were based off of a fungus. And there is an actual zombie fungus in the real world that attacks insects like ants.
I don't remember the original having these plastic door tokens. You know what? I have not played with plastic door tokens until we did Reichbusters.
And now I'm in love with them.
I am so in love with plastic door tokens now.
They are pretty sweet.
They add so much to the board.
So the big thing about this one is that these door tokens, they don't just like open, because when the aliens open the door, they break it down. So that's why they cut in half. So you just see like what's left of the door frame.
Well, with the tokens, they very clearly define each cell that everybody's in, which I really like. So the board doesn't become like this mishmash of like darkness and color and stuff. So like, I'm 100% on board with plastic tokens. Like beforehand, I think I would have been like, okay, it's like an extra expense usually. Yeah. But like with this, now I'm sold on stupid extra door tokens, okay? I can't help it.
And it does, since we play these games live a lot of times too, making it easier for everyone to kind of see where the actual ends of walls are and everything else. And it does add a little bit to the theme. I mean, how can you not enjoy that?
Ellen just wants to have a painting party. We totally should. Maybe we'll do that online.
I have legitimately bought a game for somebody in exchange for painting services. I was like, here's this miniatures game. Please paint my figures. And I don't regret it. I haven't played with those figures yet, but still don't regret it. They're pick orcs for Blood Bowl, and I would do it again.
Painting looks amazing.
I just can't do it.
Are these the zombie things? Yeah, 5 living fungus models.
All right. So to be fair, fungi would be a really creepy, like, not anti-hero, but a really creepy bad guy, because fungus is just weird.
Look at the IT specialist. Oh my God.
Yeah, she hasn't looked at the campaign recently, as you can tell.
Oh my God.
There's so many things that are unlocked in this. I think this is definitely, if you were ever interested in a space game, if you like the Aliens franchise, you like the idea of like a hidden traitor / cooperative game, I don't know how you do it any better than this. This is like the best theme for this. Like, I love the stupid alien movies. I've watched all of them, even the bad ones.
So Ronnie says, yes, Mike, they even have a complete co-op campaign-based comic book. And the game really comes together with the traitor. Everybody gets selfish and a common goal. When the first alien is encountered, you can choose your goal based on the situation.
And I like that you get to see your goals and then pick your character. Because usually you're like, okay, well, I'm this character, and oh, now I find out I'm a traitor. You get to kind of decide what you want to do, and I think that is really good. And I like that like you said, the selfish goals are not just a straight up everyone dies.
Right.
It can be like, I'm the only one who gets out, or she doesn't get out, or whatever.
The selfish goals in this game do make the game, in the fact that it keeps everybody in this mindset of, okay, people are being shady, like what's happening, I don't trust anybody. And that's why I love Dead of Winter, because as you're playing the game, you're not only just playing a game, but you actually start getting those aspects of like paranoia in you, you know?
Yeah,
and
you
feel the game. You feel the game as you're playing the game.
I think probably the second Alien is the one I like the most.
But having those aspects come into play makes, well, that's what the difference between like a dry Euro game where you're placing things on there and you're figuring out a puzzle versus a themed game that does it really, really well, where the game actually makes you feel things as you're playing it. You know, it starts running the lines of more of like RPG-esque, like dungeon crawl stuff,
I agree.
except in space.
Yeah, you definitely get a lot more. It's just that the game becomes more intense when you feel like you're actually in the game, right?
Right.
Even Reichbuster, with just rolling the die and just not knowing if we were going to survive or not was really big, where if I was just rolling the die to see if I get to move a space, not exciting.
Absolutely. And like in that game, the whole thing is having that huge group of people come up to you and like you feeling like the board's being overloaded, and that creates like these feelings of like panic in you, like, oh my God, what are we gonna do now? Like the board is just overrun with stuff. And I love games that do that so much. And Nemesis just has this really fantastic like conglomeration of mechanics and storytelling and everything that's going on in the game. And your ship, you still have to manage your ship because your ship is failing, everyone. Like, don't even think about just who's going to betray you, maybe.
There's so many little twists in this, too. Because you can also think that you, like, succeeded and then come to find out that you're going to the wrong planet, so you die. You know, because you're like, oh, I'm going to Earth. And then you find out, and then you don't, we didn't really talk about the fact that you get infected, right? And you've got the little red cards that you look at under a thing to see if you've actually got an egg inside of you or a xenomorph inside of you. I don't know the exact term, but to know if you are infected by an alien species. And it's almost to your benefit not to look, because if you don't look, you're fine until the end, right? So you're like, if I don't look, I'm fine. Until you get to the end, and you find out, oh no, I was infected. I just brought an egg back to Earth. And I like to think that I would be the person that would bring an alien species back to Earth.
You would be the person.
And then I'd be like, go forth, my children, devour the mortals, if I didn't die with it coming out.
I love the fact that they add this one right here, in the core box with the scientist and the wheelchair.
Oh, a soldier. I haven't seen that one.
That was my favorite part.
Oh, okay. You're looking, that's the core box.
Yeah. So they made characters that weren't like just characters based off of like normal stuff.
Super generic, right? And then all the characters have,
super generic.
They can do everything, but they definitely have a specialty. So you kind of need the other players to survive, but you also can't trust the other players because it's real life.
All right, Dr. Gloryhogg.
I think it's always going to depend on your group. Obviously, we're in. We both want to back this. I think where the difference might be is at what level. For me personally, at this point in time, I kind of, like I've said about movies, usually the second or third movie gets worse than the first one, but I feel like with games, the second or third ones sometimes are actually just better because they've learned and implemented things that they've seen on BGG and all these other places. I'm all in for the new one, the Nemesis Lockdown. Since it's a standalone, I think I can be happy with just that. It's $120 still, but I think $120, spend that and feel happy with that because I don't think I'll ever play it enough to have both copies.
So your gaming group is going to be the sort of gaming group that enjoys dungeon crawls, enjoys RPG style games, enjoys highly themed games, and enjoys games that are going to take a longer time to play because this is 90 to 180 minutes for this game. So people who don't enjoy those aspects of gaming are probably not going to enjoy this particular game. But if you're looking for a game in that area, this is like at the top of that sort of stuff. Like this is all of those aspects, but in space. When you usually find them in like a fantasy style setting. So I think that also makes it a little bit unique. Or just a zombie. Right, exactly.
Like Dead of Winter is one of your favorites because when it came out was such a big thing for you.
Zombicide, stuff like that.
And we don't play Dead of Winter all the time,
D&D.
But we still make a point to play it like every year.
Absolutely. This has a really fantastic space setting, which I love space settings in general. But yeah, you definitely have to have the right type of group for this particular game. But I feel like more gamers are leaning towards this way.
Yeah, and I think also it depends on, for me, like I like to have games that are just feel different. So I don't have a bunch of copies of the same game. I don't want 100 worker placements, right? So I try to find the best ones or the ones that do something different for me, because that's the only way I'm going to go back and play them. So for me, this is definitely one of those games that is a standalone. It's going to end up on my shelf and it's going to stay there. Even if I only get to play it once or twice a year, it's going to be worth the value.
Oh, definitely.
Because I don't think my other friends are going to get it either, but they're going to play it.
Here's the other thing.
If we could convince my mom to play this, this would be amazing.
I want to back this game first off, but here's the other thing is Awaken Realms games are hard to come by. If you are interested in this game, make sure you do back it and that you don't wait for it, because if you're looking for an original copy of Nemesis, like, good luck. You're going to get some crazy prices and stuff like that for aftermarket stuff. A lot of their games are incredibly successful and they don't end up on people's shelves, like on, game store shelves afterwards, like, I mean, it just doesn't happen.
Right, it's hard to find. Like, I've tried to pick up Lord of Hellas, and then, of course, we were looking for Tainted Grail, and it hasn't worked out. There's definitely games like that are just out there.
You may as well back it.
That are hard to get.
If you want it, back it now, and don't worry about the aftermarket stuff, because the aftermarket is tough for the Awaken Realms games, and expensive, and your wallet will hurt so bad.
So what Eric is saying, which is one thing we didn't bring up, when your goal is to have somebody else not survive, you can't just initially attack another player too.
No, yeah.
Because like we had that like in Arcadia Quest where we could attack each other and get points and all that. We ended up taking that out of our game a lot of times because we just made it where we'd end up spending so much time attacking each other, we wouldn't actually try to like clear the dungeon.
Right.
That's what we personally did for, because we're married. We have to like each other at the end of the game, right? But with this one, you cannot just immediately attack somebody or anything like that. You have to kind of just like casually leave a door open or not come to their aid or pick up something that you know would be better for them or send them on a dangerous mission, where like that they're probably not going to make it, but you're okay with that.
Make sure you stay extra ahead of them.
Yeah, don't let them catch up to you. All kinds of really cool things like that.
Lock
so you have
the doors when you leave somebody.
Which is something we liked about War of Whispers. You have to manipulate from outside. You can't just actively do something. If you could just actively shoot somebody, then it would be boring. But you have to manipulate, which makes it a game with multiple layers, like an onion or an ogre, if you will.
Oh my gosh. So Alan,
or a parfait.
Alan says, Dr. Gloryhogg, are you all in?
I am all in for $120. I want the Nemesis. I do not want to get the other one. I won't play them enough to have multiple copies of the same type of game.
That's fair.
But as far as Nemesis goes, I want the $120. I'm going to do it. If they do add-ons, I might look at some of the add-ons. It just really depends. But I know I'm at least in for the base pledge for Nemesis, the new one.
Nathan's comment is
Lockdown.
cracking me up. Before the game, during the game? No. After the game, you have to love each other. Not during the game. During the game, it's all, the gloves are off.
There's definitely times during the game where there's not a lot of love, but we have to make sure that we still want to live in the same house afterwards.
Oh no, we left the airlock open. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh, did you get sucked up? Oh no, I'll tell your wife you loved her. I won't tell her. Don't worry, we'll pay for your kid's college. We're not paying for your kid's college.
What's your wife's number again? I mean...
Yeah, you already did. It's too late. Too late. So yes, we're definitely in. What pledge level are you thinking?
Oh, this is tough. Okay.
Because I know you like to go all in on stuff. Like you like to go crazy
all
on
in.
them.
That's something I think I'm gonna have to decide later, just because I'm really excited about Nemesis. Space is my jam, but we have some other ones to talk about today.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about. Right. There's a lot of really good games this week.
There's some other big ones we got to talk about. Okay.
That's true.
All right.
That's true. I brought water because I knew we'd be talking.
So
20 minutes, first game. Woo.
Oh,
let's go.
My goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's move on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
All right, Bristol.
All right. We have Bristol, $13.50 by Facade Games or Facade. Facade.
Facade. I don't know.
It's that one game place. This is for 2 to 9 players. It's going to last about 20 to 40 minutes. This particular game. You have a lovely little caravan that you're taking across, I think it's a city. Yeah, you're taking across the city. And you may or may not be carrying the plague with you. I mean, it's just a tiny plague that you're carrying with you. And as you are crossing the finish line here, you are trying to make it so you do not have any plague bearers, that just you are coming across with people who are safe. And they had made this game before
it's
COVID.
like it's 2 years in at least.
Right. So, like, they specifically put up front, like, this is not a thing for COVID or anything like that.
Right,
like,
this isn't COVID-19 the plague.
Yeah, has been in the process of being created, and right now is the time that we have to bring it out and
the
everything.
plague is a serious part of history, you know, so...
A huge part of history. There's been many, many plagues. I mean...
So this game, I've seen their other games, and they always look really appealing because they're like little book games, and they're like Tortuga or Deadwood or Salem, all themes I'm interested in. I've never gotten to play them, though. I constantly see them, though, where I'm like, oh, should we pick that up? And I swear I have a friend that has a couple of them. I thought it was Greg, but he says it's not him.
Alan says we have Tortuga, and we like it. It's a nice game for multiple players. But I was going to get to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, because these have really big player counts, which is nice.
2 to 9 is huge.
I feel like this does lean a little bit towards like lighter with depth in it versus like something like Nemesis, which is, it's going to have depth just to get into it.
And this
and
one,
then more depth on top of that.
This one you're having player interaction where you are trying to affect certain people and if they're carrying plagues or not. So it is direct interactiveness as opposed to like indirect interactiveness, which is what the other one kind of was.
And it's a kind of interesting idea. Like you're trying to race to get out of the city, right? And then make sure you don't have anybody plagued with you. But the real intricacies come from you don't know if you're going to get plagued. If you do get plagued, then of course you want to spread it to everybody. You can have a rat outbreak, and all of a sudden everybody else can, like you start mixing cards up, and then people can get plagued. And I think the thing that was kind of cool when I was looking at it is they were talking about how you can be like all in the same cart. Like, you're healthy? Yeah, I'm totally healthy. Are you healthy? Yeah, I'm totally healthy. And you're riding out, and at the last second, you're like, yoink, and you jump into the cart in front of you, and you're like, bye, suckers, you're going to die. Because you don't trust that person at the very end, you know? Like, at the very last second, you try to jump into the other cart and get out. So I think it's a really interesting race game that we don't really have a lot of, like, kind of race games like this where you're going to want to, like, move around a bunch, like position, like push people towards the back, jump into another one. Plus, it looks, I mean, it just looks amazing.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful looking game. And with higher player counts, this is going to be one you are definitely going to bring out to your table whenever you have a lot of people there and you're going to be playing together. And it has simple enough rules that I think everybody can kind of understand. Because sometimes whenever you get into those like hidden trader-y sort of games and stuff like that, they get kind of complicated for people. Right. You know, especially people who haven't played games before. But these ones, the cards are pretty clear. Like, you either have plagues or you don't.
Right, because you're adding up cards and stuff. And I agree that the book box is an amazing idea. We actually bought a bunch of the Aiello ones, but those ones were geared towards children.
Yeah.
Like Three Little Pigs and stuff like that. I think it's a really nice way to display the game. It's small, it's compact. It seems like it's got a lot of punch, a lot of players. I've heard good things. When you look up these different games on Board Game Geek, they're all rated at least at 7. They're like a 6.8 or a 7 for all of them.
Really, really great.
So that shows you that the company is consistently putting out, because a 7 is a good rating on BGG, because even games that are like top 10 sometimes have ratings of like only like 7.4 or something like that, right?
So Mike says, this one is on Tabletop Simulator. I played it with my wife last week, and we made it out on the same cart. Mike, you were very trusting. Like, I applaud you.
See, last minute, she's going to try to push me off the card just in case. And that's what I'm like, see, here's the deal with this game.
You just said you would at the beginning. You would
if you
totally
try to push me out last minute, I'll be like, on my way out. And hopefully infect you still.
And give me a little nibble.
We've had, if you stick around and show up at our 6 o'clock fireside chat on Facebook, we'll discuss our rules for turning vampires, zombies, or werewolves, how we as a family would address that situation if one of us was to get infected.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because we have that planned out. So feel free to ask us about that at 6.
So Alan says, the Bring Out Your Dead game, that's a whole separate game with coffins and stuff.
A-I-O-U and sometimes Y. Whack! Yeah, I'm all about that life.
This reminds me of, like, you know how they tried to do, like, the Oregon Trail game?
Yeah, but it was cards.
This is like the Oregon Trail game, but, like, really good. Because, like, there's so many awesome gamer aspects to this game.
Okay.
You know, with it, and that deduction of trying to figure out who people are and what they're doing and stuff like that.
See, Mike knows. Mike didn't push her out because he wanted to still live at the same house with her at the end. Which is why we have some cooperative games, too, that we mix in whenever we've been playing some really, really competitive games.
Then you got to go, oh, okay, we'll play
competitive games, but we try to stay away from the mean-spirited side. Like, even Unfair, which literally has a top side that's usually more mean-spirited, or it's got one side that's kind of bad for the other player and then one side that's good for you. We typically stick to the good sides.
Oh, yeah.
We try not to take actions unless it's going to objectively help ourselves.
Really help our game.
And not just, like, just to mess the other person up.
Right, exactly.
because we used to play like that, and it got too contentious. And at the end of games, we're like, "Did you have fun?" Like, no, I didn't. I did not enjoy that game night.
And we're never playing this game again.
Yeah.
So,
So you know, you got to find out what works for you and your group. I do really like the theme of this, though. If you guys don't know this, I am a big.
you're a big fan of.
Well, I like biology and stuff, and so like I'm a fan of like the idea behind like what happened in the plague, what caused it, what it made it expand.
It's an interesting part of history.
It's a very interesting period of history that unfortunately we're living a mini version of.
If you do enjoy biology and stuff, yeah, absolutely, I can see how that would be really interesting.
It's just interesting how it spread and everything, and then the different actions they would take in order to try to ward it off, with basically having no knowledge. Like using leeches and doing bloodletting is not going to help you with the plague.
I love these cards so much. These remind me of like
a tarot card or something?
That's exactly it.
Or like
it
medieval
reminds
art?
me of like a tarot card or something, or that medieval art style. And I love how the skeleton is present and like that death is like just around the corner and stuff. Oh my goodness. Like there's a lot. And this game, everyone, is
Inexpensive.
$21.
Yeah.
I believe it's 21 bucks, everyone.
Yeah, I think it's...
Why aren't we backing this game?
It's 21 for the standard, and then if you want like metal carts and metal coins, it's like 39, right? Or is that one the deluxe? Yeah,
that's
39
is the deluxe. So you get the Kickstarter exclusive characters, metal coins. You basically upgrade to a metal. Your game gets more metal. Like literally and figuratively.
Which is something I'm usually all about. But since I have like recently gotten a bunch of like coins and like the Roxley like brass, the brass tokens and everything, I'm just kind of like, I'm a little coined out.
Battle Cry says, you got to make it look like an accident.
Yeah, you do. You have to make it look like an accident. Everything you do. If I eat the last piece of bread, I make it look like an accident. Like, oh no, the bread fell and the dog got to it. Oh, no one can be blamed.
Crumbs on their nose. They ate it.
No one can be blamed. Accidents happen.
No.
Oh no, all those magic cards got shipped to our house. I didn't mean to click buy.
Darn.
Maybe the kid accidentally pushed the button. The dog was walking across my computer earlier. You have to make it look like an accident.
Solo Gamer says, metal coins, I'm all in.
Yeah, and Alan's championing what we usually say, which is go big or go home or wait for retail, which is true. You can see this in retail. But like $20, I mean, considering I'm going to do at least 120 on Nemesis, and there's other games we're looking at that are also really good this week, I could definitely see doing the $21 on this one to dip my toe in, since I've never actually swam in this pool of
Facade games.
Yeah.
That
they always
so amazing.
Yeah, they always intrigue me, right? I always like
so
look
good.
at them and stuff, and I'm like, oh, what is this? Tortuga, Let's Pirates, Salem, and Deadwood, and those ones all have really big player counts too.
I'm in. I'm on. Yeah,
Did you
21,
get talked into
21,
it?
I'm in. Well, I didn't get talked into it. Like I came in going, oh, this looks really good, and over the course of this, yeah, I mean, why not? It's $21.
I would hang out in a pool full of
$21.
festers, like kind of like
What?
Yeah, there's a bunch of Festers just hanging out, like Adam's family. There wasn't there one of those named Fester?
Okay, yeah.
Wasn't it Uncle Fester?
I thought you were talking about something else. That's totally different.
No, just a pool of Festers hanging out. You just be chilling out, a bunch of bros, all bald.
It's gonna be an expensive week, everyone.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an expensive week. We have City Builders: The Ancient World by Inside Up Games. This is for 1 to 4 players. It should last about 30 to 60 minutes. In this game, you're gonna be building your little village, and you're gonna be putting down like your little houses and stuff in it. But you're also gonna be sectioning off certain parts to do like special skills. Well, not special skills, but special actions.
This actually kind of reminds me, now that we've played it, of the game we played last night.
Which one?
Ragusa. Because this one is about placing stuff and then making sure that you've got things going on all 3 sides to be able to place there and everything. There is some of that going on.
There we go. Let's get to the important part of this.
Like when you're placing, you have to make sure that, like the right landmarks are around you and stuff like that.
So
that part reminded me of
With the tile
Ragusa.
placement, you do have to make all the roads matching. I like the tile. Hold on, I'm going to pause this video. I like the tile placement in this right here, everyone. Because not only are you trying to make the tiles match with their roads, but you're also trying to enclose things so you can get things done.
Right.
Which are 2 totally different things, whenever you're trying to place tiles in a game.
Agreed.
And I really, really like that. And then the way that they break up the houses and what is it?
Facade, like a facade of a building. There we go. That's the word I was looking for, Travis. Facade.
This
is all a facade.
There we go.
I don't know how we were messing that up. I know the word facade. I don't know why I couldn't think of it.
I could not think of it. Thank you so much. So with this one here, let's see here.
This is not Carcassonne or Carcassonne.
Carcassonne. No, it is not Carcassonne.
This is why she doesn't let me pronounce games.
Maybe a little bit like it, but
I think this just reminded me of some of the different aspects of Ragusa, just with that kind of like looking around the different things, like in order to place.
This one too can be played cooperative with like a cooperative set of rules, and then competitive with a competitive set of rules.
I want to say.
Yeah, it is 1 to 4. It's 1 to 4, so
and
solo as well.
So you got some different options with it for sure.
This is an incredibly interesting game. I wish I was able to play this game like right now in front of me to get a full feel of the game, but I was unable to.
Yeah. You can see Man vs. Meeple did a tabletop sim of it, though. That was kind of interesting. It was Ryan and Kira.
Because this one here, with the way that you're taking... Because whenever you're taking buildings, you're not always taking them from, like, your group of buildings in front of you. So you can, like, minimize, maximize other players' points, because I think you can take buildings from other people's things, like from the right and left of you.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I thought it was incredibly interesting with this. They had a lot... It's like they took this tile placement, like, Carcassonne, where you're just kind of putting like meeples and stuff, and they really upped it to make it look really interesting, and with where you're having to choose things from.
So Ronnie makes a good point, how the aesthetic of the game looks like it's from 10 to 15 years ago. I actually thought that was kind of cute, and maybe that's because we have a lot of Steve Jackson games in the house that kind of have that older art from like the 80s and 90s. But I thought I kind of liked the art because it did seem like that.
To it.
Yeah, and I think this would be a good game to get like kind of like players to play without kind of realizing that this is a tile laying game. Like Carcassonne, when you look at it, you're just like, oh, okay. Like it doesn't appeal to me personally. This one would appeal more because I'd be like, oh, this looks like it's going to be like kind of like tongue in cheek or a lighter game or funnier game.
I hadn't thought of that though. That the style of art, because you just get used to seeing like that style of art.
Yeah, but it's only because you have a bunch of Steve Jackson games.
That's probably it, you know? So I didn't even think about that. Because he's been putting out games since like
the 70s or 60s, something like that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that coming into this, that the style of art did have like an older style to it.
But like we said, theme and art are huge, and a lot of companies forget about that.
Yeah.
And you can really turn people on or off. Like if I had to play Everdale and it was just like in space with bad art, I don't know if I would like it as much.
In space? You had to add in space to it?
Yeah, I had to add in space. If it was a Western with bad art, I'd still enjoy it. But there's even Western games that I've looked at that I'm like, I don't really like this art. I can't think of what it was, but I thought there was one the other day that I did not enjoy.
Nathan says, I already have a tile laying game, thanks. And Ellen says, I meant to watch Ragusa, but I fell asleep, and he got it when he backed Venice.
You should check it out. I did not want to like Ragusa, and I did not think it was going to be good, and I enjoyed it more than I thought. Like, I would even just straight up play it again today.
It's real good, and it was exactly what I wanted in that particular game, Ellen. So everything I was talking about during the Kickstarter show, like, it delivered all of that. It was really good.
I must recant my previous Kickstarter comments about Barrage and Ragusa. But as you can see, theme is important to me. So building a city, building a waterway, those things aren't important to me. And so if it looks too Euro-y and like it's going to be overly complicated, I'm going to pass. That's me. But an overly complicated alien game, I'm all in. Because it's worth it. The investment to learn the rules is worth it to me. So, Bikebusters was a long learn, but it was the investment was worth it to me because I wanted to play in that world. I don't want to play in the world where I'm making dams.
But you like Barrage a lot.
Yeah, because I got to play it. Because I got to play it. So that can always make a difference, right? And you get to actually play the game.
All right, this one here starts at $31.
Yeah,
and
it's really easy to get into. It's not an expensive game.
Nathan says Carcassonne was my gateway into hardcore serious gaming. And now I play Paladins every day. Oh my goodness.
There you go.
Nathan, you advanced like from going from Carcassonne to like Paladins. Like,
Carcassonne was one of our very first tile laying games too. And it was one that you always enjoyed more. I don't think I enjoy tile laying as much as you do. I think we just discussed this the other day. I think I lean more towards polyominoes.
Polyominoes and fitting them together?
Even though I'm not really great with spatial awareness and everything.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your camera butt.
I do think I like the way polyominoes fit together more.
Do you?
Even though I was more of a Dr. Mario fan, less of a Tetris fan.
It's really interesting
I still like polyominoes.
Both our puzzle have puzzling aspects, or our puzzle games. There you go, everyone. Have a little cat face in there. But it is completely different fitting polyominoes together because you do have to actually think a little bit more spatially with polyominoes.
Which is something I usually struggle with.
Yeah.
And so I don't typically enjoy it. But the last couple we played, like Isle of Cats and some other ones, I've like actually really enjoyed. Hall of the Mountain King was the other kind of one that had special tiles that I really enjoyed actually playing. So I have to like rethink that I don't dislike all tile games. I think I just lean towards the polyominoes more.
I feel like they made this one in a Carcassonne-esque style game, but like they really leveled it up. So they didn't take that one theme and just went, okay, we're making like another tile laying worker placement game. They were like, all right, we're going to go ahead and really advance this by making it important by which items you're getting off of your board, making it important with special things that are happening on the board that you can build for. Like, I think if you like Carcassonne, this is going to be your jam, like for sure.
Yeah, or if you don't already have like a tile laying game, I think this is a really good one to kind of enter into the market with, right? If you don't have one, it's a nice one to kind of get into.
Because
it looked appealing even to me, and like I said, I don't typically lean towards tile laying games, but it looked like it would be fun.
You can play it in like several different ways. So if you want to teach the game, here's the big thing: if you want to teach the game cooperatively, you can teach the game cooperatively, and then you can bring over all those cooperative rules to your competitive play, and then switch a few things around, and they're already going to have an intro to that game and how to play without that portion of it. You know, people just get upset.
Yeah, it's always nice when you can learn a game in a semi-cooperative fashion before you go competitive.
It is. Okay.
Have a seat, kitty.
She does not want to sit down, okay? Has your cat played Isle of Cats? Our cat has knocked Isle of Cats off of the table. Yes, absolutely.
That's
she has played with it very much. Yes, thank you, Mike. Are these the guys that made 7 Souls?
I don't know. Click on them.
That's a good question, Ellen. I don't know.
Because he's got 7 created, so it's not like it's a brand new person.
Let's take a quick
Oh, yeah, I saw some of the other ones that look good. Yeah,
it sure
7
is.
Souls. And Summit was one that I was interested in. And they had, okay, so that was one of the things. I remember clicking on this and thinking, oh, we should add them because they've got some games that I was interested in.
It was Summit that I was thinking of.
Yeah, Summit was one, and then they had that Gorgas Maximus one. I remember looking at that one, and then Quick of the Dead. I don't know what it's about, but I'm kind of all in.
Well, that's just because it's Western themed.
Oh my God, it's not just because it's Western themed.
You can't just Western themed.
You sure can. You sure can.
Let's hear. This in Bristol have one backer who is very enthusiastic about backing the project.
This is a good one. Like, I think I'm going to back Bristol just because we don't have another game I can think of that's kind of like that, where we do have a bunch of different like tile games. Because we even have like 1,000 or 100 Tori. Yeah, 100 Tori. So I feel like we've got a lot more tile games, so I'm not as apt to look for a new one right now.
I think for this one here, I'm going to get on Tabletop Sim for it. I didn't get a chance to do it this week because we had a lot of games to learn this week, but I think I'm going to get on Tabletop Sim with this one here soon. And we got 18 days to go on it. So I'm going to reserve my decision on this one because I'm interested. And it's only $31, so... And I like tiling games.
Seems nice, refreshing.
It is. All right.
So far, I'm in on Nemesis and I'm in on Bristol. So 120 and 21, just as FYI. And I'm so in on Nemesis, I've been telling her for weeks, like, no, remember, Nemesis is coming.
Nemesis is coming up.
Nemesis is coming. Like,
hold on.
Don't drop $200 this week. Nemesis is coming.
Don't back this one thing because Nemesis is coming.
I'm so allergic to cats. My eye is itchy, but I can't touch it because I was just holding the cat. It's okay, I got it. Don't put your hand by my face. I do not like that. Yes, that one's definitely on Tabletop Sim. At least I know Man vs. Meeple, Ryan and Kira played it. So
let me go back and look. It was
oh my gosh, don't scroll so fast, everybody.
It was Tabletopia, not Tabletop Sim.
Oh, I get those two mixed up. I don't actually get on either one of those. I'm a bad person.
You are a bad person.
I like physical board games.
But I still like you, so.
I have video games for when I want to do video games. I have like a bunch of games on Steam.
For when you want to sim?
You know, here's a real thing too. If you guys message me like on Facebook or something, we should set up to play some of these Steam games because I have like Scythe, and I think I have like Carcassonne and Mysterium, and I probably have at least 10.
Maybe we could do that, and we can invite
Terraforming Mars,
our audience to come and play with us.
Gloomhaven, I have on there too. I've got a bunch of different games on there that we should just play.
That would be a lot of fun.
On Steam at least.
All right, we're going to have to make that happen, okay?
If my computer doesn't crash, because my computer's been a
Helen says, I'll give it a try on Tabletopia, and Battlecry goes,
I'm not sure what Battlecry is asking about me being a bad person. Was that a surprise to you, Battlecry? I don't think it was.
All right, next up, we have Kemet. Kemet?
Can you commit to Kemet?
By Blood and Sand. By
Blood and Sand?
Matagot Games.
Is that how you say it? I call it Magdot.
You know what? I always called it Matagot, but I was listening to their video, and it sounded like they said Matagot.
Well, it is French, right? So we're probably just both wrong.
We're all wrong.
It's probably like Matagot.
The way you think it should be pronounced to make you feel good.
Matagot?
This is 2 to 5 players. It should last about 90 to 120 minutes. Basically, you're going to be playing as Egyptian gods, and you have the power to destroy parts of the land and the other gods because you want to
Hoodoo. You do.
You want to be the top god. You want to be the Ra of Egypt, okay? You want to be number one. What?
That's so raw.
That's so raw. This is so raw right now.
Remember, you only live raw once. No, that's not how that saying goes.
I don't think this is how this works.
This is another one that she has been obsessively messaging me about. And I say she, I'm talking about her, literally saying, have you seen Kemet? Kemet's coming out. Have you seen Kemet? Has Kemet come out yet? Is it going to be out this week? And I'm like, no, it's not out yet. No, it's not out yet. And then it is out now.
This is an updated version of Kemet. So they're adding aspects to the game, like another pyramid that's going to add special stuff to the game.
They added another color of cards, I believe. Also, like a different sense of things you can do.
Made it so you can travel across the board a little bit better, because the whole point in this is you're going to be sending armies out. You're going to be attacking other people in other cities and stuff, and then the gods can like gang up against each other and stuff. But you're trying to basically take over so you get all the praise.
I feel bad for the elephant because I know Legolas is going to run up him and shoot him in the eye or something.
Oh.
Every time I see an elephant now, I just think of that murderous elf killing elephants.
Kemet, the original Kemet is good. It's rated really high.
Yeah,
on
I think like an 8 or something.
Yeah, it is a fantastic game, and it's awesome that they're bringing it back.
It's in the top 100 of like 2 different categories.
Right. They're also making it a little bit more streamlined, adding a few tweaks to it. It's almost good because they're adding tweaks to it as opposed to like totally revamping it, because they're just like, it's already a good game. You don't want them to 100% change it. You just want them to make it a little bit better and updated so it doesn't look like a game from the 1980s.
Can we talk about that it's crazy that this game is only like 7 years old or something, though?
It's only 7 years old? It seems older.
It's not that old. It's only like 7 years old. But I mean, it's gotten great, it's won like awards and it's highly recommended and all that kind of stuff, right? But I'm just surprised that they're already revamping it after that short period of time. But, I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, the board game market changes so fast.
Yeah.
Because you have people that make a design, and then they see that design, and then they make that design a little bit better, and they make that design a little bit better.
Yeah, okay.
So it ramps up as you go. And
it's like technology, right?
Right.
So like whoever comes out with like, say, the first Carcassonne as an example, then there's been like 800,000 tile-laying games since then that have added things and changed things and done things.
Right.
So sometimes you have to go back and make tweaks based off of the new things you've seen.
Oh, absolutely. And
I think I'm a real fan of like the hybrid game now, though, because like Isle of Cats is like drafting and polyomino laying cards.
Where you're almost playing 2 games at once.
Yeah, Hall of the Mountain King is also like a polyomino laying thing, but you're also doing like like you got the cascading thing going on the side, like resource management.
That's because
so there's like, I think I'm really enjoying the 2 big mechanics kind of mixed in.
That's because games with just one aspect of play, like just
they're too
drafting,
boring now.
Yeah, if they're just drafting games, like
unless
say
it's Magic the Gathering,
a Sushi Go style game or something like that.
Ramen Fury.
It's fun to play, but it doesn't have depth to it.
Okay.
It doesn't have a huge amount of depth. You can't control a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in the board. So if they add a whole nother mechanic to that, it makes the game more complex. And if you have one that's weighted against the other and stuff, and so they challenge each other as you're playing, it becomes more exciting and more of that puzzling to it.
I think I definitely like games that have alternate winning like routes also, because I know for you, once you kind of figure out how to win a game, like you're done with it. You don't want to play it anymore because you like solving that puzzle.
I do.
But for me, I like whenever she solved that puzzle and then like I come out of like from the side and you're like, what the poop? And I'm like, I win by 2 points. And you're like, no.
Alan says, do they have ducks in this game?
No, but there's like crocodiles.
They do not, but, you can play as Anubis, and who doesn't want to be Anubis? Anubis is
Or you can worship
freaking
cats.
awesome.
Every time you worship cats, like, she gets stronger. Both of them.
Our cat.
And you.
Our cat could be a cat god. Look at, she's beautiful.
So I wanted to compare this to Ankh, but I don't know if they really compare, like, apples. I don't feel like they're like apples to apples, right?
No.
Because we recently backed Ankh, and I'm like, okay, well.
Ankh.
Oh, I just got the duck joke. Nice. I caught up. But I don't know if you can really compare them, because I feel like Ankh is more towards like Blood Rage and like Rising Sun. But this one is like its own separate thing, like with its own mechanics, and it's more based off just like the area control and everything.
Ronnie makes a really good point. Things like Sushi Go are the best to teach mechanics like drafting as a gateway game or simply as a family game.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, Ronnie. No, if you have a game that is more intense that you want to bring players to, it's fantastic to teach them all those mechanics that are involved in the game ahead of time with other games, and then bring them to this new game that's more intense and go, all right, now you kind of already know how to play half of this game because you already are involved with those mechanics.
That is actually exactly how she's taught her mom how to play. Because her mom has never really played board games besides Monopoly. But you've definitely done that with like, here's a drafting game, and then you're like, okay, now that you know how to play this, now we can play this game that has drafting in it.
And that's exactly how I
just
taught
build on the
our
mechanisms.
child how to play, because we started with something very simple like a King of Tokyo, where it was just some dice
Whoa,
rolling.
something very classic.
Where it was just some dice rolling. And then we went up from there, and we just learned very small gateway games as we went along. And then by the time that our kid was like 5, 6, they were playing miniature style games and stuff. So like they're like, yeah, let's play Blood Bowl, or let's play, you know, I don't know what else we played. We played all sorts of craziness. I remember
Blood Bowl was crazy because she beat me in Blood Bowl, and that was like, I was like, how are you? What? I was very confused how that happened.
Oh no.
I was like, there's a problem. There's a problem. She's not supposed to be able to beat me in something like that.
Aussie says, why did I tune in this morning? I have all 4 of these games. Thanks, guys. Great show. June is going to be a costly month.
It is, because there's other good games coming out in June, too.
Oh, my gosh. The games coming out this month, everyone. I wish I could talk about all of them right now.
I agree with Ronnie that there's a lot of similarities between the two, but like just the basic mechanics you're doing are probably going to be different. So for me, my take on this game, it looks very good. I think since I already have Ankh backed, that I could pass on this one until I have a chance to play it in either this new version or the old version, and then see if I feel like I need another one that feels similar.
I feel like Ankh's going to be a little bit more scrappy, whereas this one is a little bit more like area control-ish, you know? And plus...
But are they different enough to warrant having both in our collection?
That's a really good question. And you know what? I think I'm going to go back and review Ankh and take a second look at the two.
Yeah.
Because I didn't directly compare the two.
Oh, I did first
before
thing,
this.
yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I didn't directly compare the two. I just knew that I loved Kemet and that I was excited about getting all these new aspects and them being able to move around the board a little bit better. And it was already a game that I knew that I had liked, so I was like, all right, this is going to be awesome with it coming.
So Alan's making the comment that you kind of can understand the gist of this game, and it's already more proven. That's true.
That's 100% true.
But we've already played Blood Rage and Rising Sun, and we know how that design process works, so we kind of have an idea of how Ankh's going to be also.
Right, because wasn't
I feel like
Ankh an Eric Ling based game?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's his third one.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's part of a series that I'm already familiar with, kind of like with the Tiny Epic stuff. I kind of know, okay, I can look quickly at a Tiny Epic one and be like, oh, this is pirates, and this is how the mechanisms work in it. Okay, I understand this game, and I feel comfortable buying that game, right? Because I've got experience with it. And that's how I feel about the Command games. But I think I do want to compare the two side by side, because I feel like they're going to share the same design space. Because the reasons why you're excited about this one, I feel like are the same reasons why you're excited about Ankh. And so I feel like for me personally, that I would only need one or the other.
That's probably
I could probably
really
go either
true.
way. They both look really good.
I'm going to go back and I'm going to review the two, and then I'm going to leave like it in our comments, I think, on which one I would decide on. Because between the two, I was so excited about Kemet coming back.
One.
Yeah, I was so excited about Kemet coming back and being able to get a hold of it. Because for a while there, it was hard to get because of with the reprints and everything going on. And I was just excited to get the new version of it.
But it does look like a good game. I just feel like for me, we have to decide on which one we want to go for, which is sometimes the reality when you've got money and time issues, right?
That's very true.
We could buy all these games, right?
I think
not eat and never have time to play all of them.
If you really liked Kemet, then this is like a for sure win for you, because they fixed a few of like the little aspects that players were having issues with. And then they added some new content to it. And I think there was even a pledge for you just to get the cards, wasn't there? Let me see here.
There's an upgrade pledge, so it's just less expensive if you already have the original. And I think you have to kind of know where you are in gaming. When we first started doing like our podcast and stuff about Kickstarters, we were very much in the consume side because we just didn't have anything. So everything seemed new and exciting. Now that we've got a lot, you kind of have to make choices. Good example, Dinogenics versus Dinosaur Island. I will say that I honestly watched probably 10 videos, looked at both Kickstarter campaigns, and read probably like 4 or 5 written articles about them to determine that I wanted to go all in on Dinogenics instead of Dinosaur Island.
Right.
And this was before I think we got Duelosaur Island, but still, I still feel like I made the better choice because I feel like Dinogenics is going to make me feel more like Jurassic Park, where Dinosaur Island, although I still want to own it, I feel like I'll pick it up later at some other time. I had to kind of pick between them because they had similar mechanics and similar themes. So I felt like I kind of had to pick, right? I don't need a bunch of $100 dinosaur games. I kind of only need like 1 or 2 really good ones. And that's where we're at this point. We're at this point where now we're looking at games and saying, I like this game. Do I like it more than this other game? And then kind of weighing them against each other, right? So you kind of have to determine where you are in your Kickstarter journey.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's where I'm at. Since we have already one backed, like, do I want to back both?
You're not going to be disappointed with this Kickstarter for sure.
No, I think, like I said, I could feel like I could do either or.
Battlecry says consume. Battlecry, have you been watching?
Battlecry, we have consumed a lot.
Have you been watching, what is it, The American Gods lately? Because I'm just saying.
Lately, that show's kind of old.
Consume. All right, so do the same when these are similar Kickstarters, Dr. Gloryhogg ×3. Have you guys seen the huge backlash about the Cthulhu expansion of the Kemet Kickstarter campaign? I have not.
So I've seen some negativity where people were just saying, like, why is it going to be in there? But I didn't know that it was like people were angry about it. I thought it was more like a, why are you going to have Cthulhu in there?
Yeah, Cthulhu isn't part of that mythology.
It's not. But sometimes mixing mythologies is great. Case in point, American Gods, which is a movie or show. It's good because you've got a mixing of different gods from different religions all mixed together, kind of like being somewhat mortal in, America.
FYI, that's a mature show, everyone. So people who don't want to watch mature content, don't go watch that show.
But it wouldn't be as good if it was just like, oh, these are just these gods. It's the mixing of like seeing somebody like Jesus interact with somebody like Odin. That's an interesting mix, right?
Super
Old
interesting.
gods versus new gods.
Everybody wants to see a god fight, okay? Everybody wants to see that, right?
That's true. And we have not finished American Gods, so no spoilers.
No spoilers,
We're a
everyone.
season and a couple episodes into season 2.
No spoilers. All right, so are you gonna back this? I mean,
so
what's the
for
deal?
me this week, because I'm thinking realistically about our money, I feel like I have to go in on Nemesis, $120, and I want to go on Bristol. So those are the two I'm going to pick. I feel like I'm okay with those two because I know there's other really great games coming out too.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But caveat to that, if you decided you like Kemet more than Ankh, if we could switch, then I would be okay with that too. I don't know if we're past that point or whatever, but I would be okay with that. I'm not so heavily invested in one that I'm like disregarding the other one.
So Ronnie says, yeah, the comments in the update that they put out on the Cthulhu expansion was negative. Many people canceled their entire pledge. Wow, that's really interesting.
And that's fair. Do you have to play with it though if it's in there, or is it like just a faction that you play with?
You shouldn't have to because it's a whole separate god. I imagine it would be like an expansion thingy, or not an expansion, but a new one you can play with.
At least my personal perspective, there's definitely games that have expansions or parts to it that I just don't enjoy, and so I just don't play with them.
Now, I want to know what everybody...
I'm okay with that, though. Not everybody
is backing this week. Leave them in the comments.
Yeah.
Let us know where you're spending your money.
Yeah, go to the YouTube comments and leave them so we can see them and kind of keep track of who's got what. Because, like, if Alan, for example, is going in on Kemet, and we're going to see him next year, if he's going to come visit again or something...
We're not going to get Kemet, and you better bring it, Alan.
Yeah. See? I'm just trying to maximize that, because Greg has been off social media and out of things. He has not backed anything for months now, so... Which is fair. I mean, there's a lot going on in this world. For us, getting to connect with you and talk to everybody online and everything, that's how we're staying sane. Otherwise, it would just be the three of us in this house going in circles talking to each other, which is fine. I love everybody in this house, but it is nice getting outside perspectives once in a while.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
This is my version of a game night whenever we play games live.
Ronnie says all in. Nemesis, super hyped.
Yeah, I am... I'm doing a good job containing my hype, but I've been thinking about Nemesis since it came out last time.
Nemesis. So. Oh, all in, Lindsay. All in for Nemesis, says Lindsay. Nemesis.
Alan's going to bring Tortuga, which is good.
So hot right now.
I got to play some more pirate games because Tiny Epic Pirate surprised me. It was good. I thought it would be good, but I really enjoyed it.
The problem is we both don't really super like pirate themes.
Right, it's not our go-to.
Right.
But so is Egyptian. That's what we were talking about, too. I thought you were maybe really into Egyptian stuff since you're excited about this one, and you're like, not really.
I liked Stargate.
That's right.
Whenever I think of like Egyptian gods and stuff, I always think of Stargate, which is space. So.
Oh, okay. I like all mythology, honestly, of all the different gods and the ideas behind them and theories and beliefs. I like the idea. I never really studied them like in school or anything, but I've always, read Wikipedia pages and stuff. Whenever I see like a weird god, I'm like, who is
Mike
this?
Says Bristol, $13.50 for me.
Yeah.
So
okay, that's fair. That looks good.
Apparently, Mike's house is like the party house because they're gonna have a bunch of like high player count games. So
there's a reason why we have Asking for Troubles, which is a 7-player worker placement. You don't get a lot of those that still play well.
See, and Ellen knows what I'm talking about. Stargate all the way. There you go.
Jenny wants to go back to Vegas. We can meet up in Vegas. It's only like 6 hours for us, I think.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, that would be cool.
6 or 8. It's a day drive.
We can do that.
An all-day drive.
All right, everyone. We're going to be doing our fireside chat
it's our first one.
That's
Just
right.
to talk about some upcoming games we've got going on. honestly just to chit chat. Like
Yeah.
if you want to know our household policy on one of us becoming a werewolf, that's the time to ask.
This is like our Q&A session.
You want
but
to know what type
also
of pizza we like?
bringing you guys like some content on like what we're going to be doing later. We're
Yeah.
maybe talk a little bit about
Channel stuff.
the upcoming games we're going to be playing that we have our hands on.
Yeah, there's some I'm really excited to show
there's
off.
some really good ones.
So we thought we would do it in a
Yeah.
thing. And really, it's just a way to kind of do what we do at the end of our streams and just kind of chit chat on some stuff.
Oh my gosh.
got an appointment?
Oh my gosh. Oh my
She's going to get her hair cut.
Also, getting my hair cut. So if you want to see the aftermath of that, like come check in with us later.
Hey, seriously though, thoughts and prayers, because if it goes badly, I'm going to have to deal with the fallout the rest of the day.
I'll be crying so much, I'll just be like messy tears for the rest of the day. It'll be super sad. So let's hear.
Yeah, it's really about games. We're going to talk about, of course.
Yeah.
We can talk about more in depth about Kickstarters if you want to talk about them, games that we've recently played, games we're going to play.
Oh, absolutely.
And then just random stuff. Like if you just want to ask us random questions about us, I don't mind. I'm an oversharer.
Yeah. Like, we just thought
Seriously,
it would be
she
really
wants
fun.
me to shut up sometimes.
Well, it would be really fun to go ahead and add our discussions. I feel like sometimes our discussions, I want to
cut off.
continue those instead of like them getting cut off and like having to do all of our work stuff and everything, like go through our shows and stuff. So I was like, all right.
I wish we had a multi-level marketing plan. It's not a pyramid because it's upside down, okay? So it's not a pyramid, Mike. If you just get 10 of your friends to buy in on it, then you'll make enough money for them to get 10 of their friends, and then eventually we'll all be rich.
Yes.
If everyone in your family friend group sends me $10, I will send you $1.
All right. So everybody, if you like this show, make sure to like and subscribe to our content. We are only a few people away from hitting our 1,000 mark on YouTube, so that would make us super excited. Make sure to share with your friends. Tell them to go ahead and subscribe to us. Tell your dog, tell your mom, like everybody.
And that just real quick, our fireside chat will be on Facebook only. We're just going to do it live.
Oh, yes. We're just going to do it live on Facebook, okay?
Just for something different, since we don't do anything on there anymore.
That's right, because I feel bad because we don't do as much stuff on Facebook anymore. So we're going to go ahead and do it there, okay? Other than that, I think that's about it. Right? Is there anything else you want to say?
No,
the kitty
that is
says,
a
the kitty
plenty
says,
of cats.
bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
We love
We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.